now adjourn?
The question is that this House do now adjourn. Rachel Hopkins.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I'm very pleased to have secured today's debate. That is on an issue that is very important to the people of Luton. I'm incredibly proud of my town, and Luton is an aspirational town, packed to the brim with vibrant cultures and caring communities. And while it's called a town, Luton is in fact the size of a city, with the latest census data showing a population of some 225,000 in 2021, an increase of around 11% over the last 10 years. However, all these great things that make Luton a brilliant place are undermined by the station and rail entrance to our town centre. So whether you live in Luton, work in Luton, visit our town, or just simply travel through, there's a chance you will have to experience Luton train station. So rather than simply putting to the Minister my personal feelings on Luton Station, as I've put on record in this House many times before, I asked the good people of Luton via social media for their thoughts on the station. And here's just a few snippets of what they had to say. The station building itself is dull and decrepit. There's a lack of lifts to platforms, lots of leaks everywhere, platforms often get puddles, and it's easy for travellers to get wet. It is completely inaccessible for the disabled, elderly and those carrying luggage. A nightmare for families with small children and people with mobility issues. You can't shelter from the rain because one of the platforms has a waterfall. It's a terrible first impression for visitors to our town arriving by train. It's not fit for purpose. So from testimonies from local people and discussions with Thameslink GTR, Network Rail, past government ministers and the Department for Transport, it's overwhelmingly clear that redevelopment is needed. We've only seen basic remediations of the station since the 1950s, with the odd licks of paint here and there. And I know the station so well. I'm a born and bred Lutonian, and when I was a kid, we picked my dad up from the station. I was a commuter, I still am, 25 odd years. So I saw the old removal of the old Red Star parcel depot and the extension of the platforms for 12-car trains. But fundamentally, there's been no real change to the station overall. There are those licks of paint. So I'm sure the Minister's officials have written a very good technical brief on Luton Station, but I don't want today's debate to be about whether or not Luton train station needs investment. It's clear that it does. Instead, I want this debate to provoke action from government that leads to a redevelopment of Luton train station. And it's not just about providing Luton with the station it deserves, it's also about providing the modern station it needs to thrive.
Would my honourable friend give way?
I'll absolutely give way.
Thank you. I thank my honourable friend for giving way, and she's making an excellent speech, which I wholeheartedly agree with. And on that point about a modern station and the need to thrive, does my honourable friend agree that it's not just Luton Station in our town that needs the support, it's also Leagrave Station in the north of the town that is in desperate need of lifts? The Access for All funding bid has the backing of Bedfordshire Rail Access Network, Network Rail, Thameslink GTR, the council, myself and thousands of our constituents. And I sincerely hope that all the people who signed my List for Leagrave petition and the people who make the 1.8 million journeys a year from that station get the station that they finally deserve.
I thank my honourable friend for a brilliant intervention there. She's a fantastic champion for Luton North and especially Leagrave Station, so I'm sure the Minister has taken note of the points she made so well. So figures provided to me show that over 3.5 million passenger journeys were via Luton Station in 2019-20. And despite this, as mentioned by so many local people, poor accessibility is preventing many disabled and elderly people, young families or those with luggage from travelling by train. At the moment, those with mobility restrictions are unable to access 4 out of the 5 platforms, and the one external lift to the ticket office upstairs is regularly out of order. People unable to access the station are often forced to go out of their way to travel via Luton Airport Parkway station. However, Luton Airport Parkway, at the very southern tip of the town, serves Luton Airport both for travellers and workers, as well as associated businesses. It does not provide access to Luton's town centre or the bus interchange. Now, football fans visiting Luton for away games against the Hatters are also faced with the station's accessibility issues, as well as what it looks like. And the criticisms are similar from Luton Town fans. Just recently, I was told that when Luton fans who travel by coach to away games are dropped back at Luton Station after the game, there are some disabled fans who can't then access the platform they need to return home. Instead, their journey can take an additional hour or two, often late at night, as they have to go up to Bedford from platform 5, then across, and then back down to Luton Airport Parkway or stations further south. It's either that or they have to pay for a taxi. Now, these transport issues are unacceptable right now, but it's also important to note that Luton Town is a football club on the rise. The club reached the Championship playoff semi-final last year, is currently 1 point from the playoff places this year, and is in the process of developing the exciting new Power Court Stadium, which will be closer to the train station and town centre than Kenilworth Road, and have an increased capacity of initially around 7,500, potentially, rising to about 12,500 more than Kenilworth Road down the line. So whether Luton Town is in the Championship or makes it to the Premier League, we will see an increasing number of visitors to the town, which will further demonstrate the accessibility issues. So I know the Minister, like my mum, is an Arsenal fan. So just for example, I asked, how would an Arsenal fan with a disability who follows their club around the country using the rail network cope with travelling to Luton? Now, I appreciate that Access for All funding has been allocated to Luton, and that's used to create an obstacle-free, accessible route from the station entrance to the platform, and this is very much welcome. But there are clear concerns about the delay in delivery and the continual dilution of the design quality. The funding was allocated to Luton 8 years ago. Now, due to deferrals, work on the lifts may not start until 2024. Now, when we were led to believe the work would be completed within the current control period by 2024. As well as these delays, there are also concerns about the design of the lifts and the associated footbridge. Luton Council has worked incredibly hard with stakeholders to identify a preferred option. Now, it seems, without consultation with the council, there are rumours that the roof may be removed from the footbridge connected to the lifts, exposing passengers to the elements. We know installing lifts now will be more cost-effective over the long term, and the absence of a covered footbridge seems at odds with the design of other stations of similar size to Luton. So I'd like to ask the Minister in his remarks to outline when we can expect work on the Access for All funded lifts to begin, and also when we can expect to see the finalised, agreed-upon design of the lifts and footbridge. I'd be very disappointed if simply a minimal viable product of a footbridge with no covers was forced onto Luton Station to the detriment of local travellers. And this leads on to another key point that people in Luton repeatedly raise with me. Shiny new lifts on a decrepit station do not address the overall problem that the station is not fit for purpose. And I've got some photos here which I will happily ensure the Minister leaves the chamber with so he can see for himself. Passengers are not getting the value of money they deserve, whether it's access to platforms or avoiding the long-standing water feature, more commonly known as the rain that pours down from the leaky roof on platform 3. And so I asked the Minister, what impression does this give of our town? A train station is a gateway to a town and is key to creating the perception of a welcoming community. People travel into Luton Town Centre for a whole host of reasons: to work, for shopping, for business, to deliver public services, to study at the university, to enjoy our arts and culture. The station is also part of the walk-through from Hightown down to the town centre. Clues in the name, Hightown, down to the town centre. And it's used by people walking through at all times of day and night. All these people experience a station that lets down our town. Luton Council has recognised the importance of increasing investment in the urban area surrounding the station. So both the Butte Street car park mixed-use development and the Power Court development for Luton Town Football Club are within a stone's throw of the thoroughly outdated Luton station. To maximise the potential of these developments and the regeneration of our town, we need a full redevelopment of the train station. And so as someone who says he's passionate about rail, I am too, I'm sure the Minister agrees that rail can be a catalyst to regenerate areas. In fact, for every £1 spent on rail, £2.50 is generated for the wider economy. So, a 21st century station, fit for the town we are, not the town we once were, could create huge economic and social opportunities for Luton. Improving the station as that gateway to our town centre would increase the attractiveness of Luton for residents and visitors, which is key to creating jobs, attracting investment and encouraging businesses to come to Luton. Improving Luton's rail offer also aligns with the UK's wider aim of reaching net zero. A positive rail passenger experience is vital to encouraging the modal shift from cars to rail. It's clear from Luton residents that their current experience is not encouraging them to make the shift. So I know the Minister and the Government will recognise that the current situation is not acceptable. A full redevelopment of the station is an essential part of our town centre's revival. So, in closing, will the Minister outline what discussions he has had with the Department for Transport and Treasury officials about a full redevelopment of Luton Station? And I appreciate in the Minister's recent letter he offered a meeting to discuss Luton Station further, and I'd very much like to accept this offer, and hopefully our teams can liaise to secure this. But I'd also like to invite the Minister to Luton to see it for himself. It's 25 minutes on the train from St Pancras, and you can come and see it all in its glory for himself. So it's very important to Luton that it finally gets the train station it deserves, and I look forward to working with the Minister to find a solution that works for our town. Thank you.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. It's a pleasure to be here for my first adjournment debate. And on that note, I'd like to congratulate the Honourable Member for Luton South on securing today's debate on Luton Station in her constituency. It is a constituency I know well. She did rumble me as an Arsenal fan, but it's probably fair to say that the nearest top quality football team would have actually been Luton, being as I was brought up in Buckinghamshire, and I have family who live very nearby Luton, and I'm pleased to say are big Luton Town supporters as well, and wish them well in their bid for Premiership promotion. This is also an exciting opportunity for me to talk about the work we are delivering across the rail network to enhance stations and bring them into the 21st century. As the Honourable Member rightly said, stations act as a gateway into towns and cities, connecting people to new opportunities for work, for education and employment. And we share the Honourable Lady's belief that stations must therefore be inclusive, accessible and fit for purpose. I know that Luton has ambitions for its station to be a gateway to the town, not only to provide a positive first impression for visitors, but to enhance the ambience in and around the station for its residents and its rail users. It will also provide an additional reason for potential future investors and businesses to choose Luton. And it's on that basis, Mr Deputy Speaker, that I'd be very happy to come and see both honourable members in their constituencies in Luton to view for myself. It was said it's only 25 minutes from London. It may be even closer if I go and see my mum at the same time. Perhaps I can assure the Honourable Lady that Luton is being actively considered in our plans for growth, and the Government has demonstrated its commitment to invest in the town. We are delivering accessibility improvements at Luton Station, enhancements to bus services across the town and beyond, improving road access to Luton Airport and investing in regeneration of Luton's town centre. I will explain further details, Mr Deputy Speaker, of our plans for growth in Luton. Can I first of all talk about access for all? Our first priority at Luton Station is accessibility. No passenger should be inhibited from accessing the opportunities presented by rail travel, whether that be as a result of a disability or struggling to carry pushchairs or luggage up station steps. And this is where the Access for All programme comes in. With £383 million available across England and Wales until 2024, Luton Station, as the Honourable Lady has pointed out, is set to receive Access for All funding to provide accessible routes to all 4 of the station's currently inaccessible platforms. The project, to the point that was asked of me, is currently in design stage and is due to complete by 2024. I understand there was a delay, but that was due to a lack of planning consent. But if we start next year, if the Council agrees, then we should be able to complete by the 2024 time. And I will write back to the Honourable Lady with the points that she specifically raised. I can assure her I will do so. Mr Deputy Speaker, our Access for All programme will have delivered more than 300 step-free accessible routes and smaller accessibility improvements at more than 1,500 stations by 2024. We will also continue to invest more widely in Luton Town Centre. In 2021, Luton Borough Council received £20 million from round one of the Levelling Up Fund to fund the first step in redeveloping the area around Luton Station and the entrance to the town centre. This project will set a new standard for redevelopment and provide confidence to the private sector to unlock other key sites that are ripe for development. This will build upon the improvements already in place, the busway and interchange adjacent to the station, and the improved access onto the town centre. I know these public realm improvements are all part of a wider master plan ambition for Luton to create a hub for business and employment, leisure and entertainment. Through the Local Growth Fund, Mr Deputy Speaker, we have invested £4 million for development of the Hat District in the town centre, close to the station, providing over 130 new jobs and more than 1,700 new opportunities for skills-based learning, £1.2 million to improve road capacity around Luton Airport that will also enable development of 800 new homes and the creation of 750 new jobs, and £800,000 towards new bus stops and access points on the Dunstable to Luton busway. We're also providing, if the Honourable Lady won't mind me giving out the shopping list, over £19 million as part of Luton's bus service improvement plan to deliver enhanced bus services across the town. I hope this makes clear that we are making massive investments across Luton's transport network. In addition, my department is providing the Council with around £10 million for the maintenance and small improvements of Luton's highways for the period 2022 to 2025. Turning back to rail specifically, I'd now like to talk about some of the national programmes my department is championing and the benefits Luton and surrounding communities could directly benefit from. But actually, before I do that, I should also just recognise the Honourable Member for Luton North's plea with regards to Leagrave Station. I don't know whether that would be possible to fit in visits at the same time, but I will look into that particular application and see where that currently sits and where we go. I know what it's like to be disappointed with applications because I've had many myself with that regard. So, turning more centrally, where communities are not yet served by rail, we are building new stations accordingly. The New Stations Fund has already delivered 8 new stations across England and Wales, most recently Bow Street in 2021, with 5 new stations due to open in 2023 at Portway Parkway, Reading Green Park, Thanet Parkway, Marsh Barton and White Rose. We continue to make good progress on our commitments in the 2021 Plan for Rail, which set out how the railway must specifically evolve to meet the needs of its customers. As part of this plan, we are committed to a comprehensive accessibility audit of rail network facilities. Once the audit is completed, publicly available data will enable passengers to better plan their journeys and will enable us in government to make better investment decisions to bring the entire rail network into the 21st century. We're already 90% on the way to completing this audit of Great British mainline stations ahead of schedule, and we expect the remainder to be completed by spring 2023. I very much hope, and I know that the Honourable Members will work with local authorities and the rail industry to leverage these opportunities for investment in rail in and around Luton. The Autumn Statement recommitted to transformative growth plans for our railways. We're investing significant amounts in rail enhancements across Great Britain to grow and level up the economy and to spread prosperity and opportunity. We will review the rail network enhancements portfolio and announce the update once this work is complete. And finally, I'm aware of the strong aspirations of the honourable members for a full redevelopment of Luton Station. Their advocacy on behalf of their constituents is admirable, and I know it is truly thought and meant. I was concerned to hear that aspirations for full redevelopment may have previously delayed investment in accessibility to the station, so I will absolutely pledge to work with the Honourable Lady to work out how we can ensure that we can deliver the accessibility points, but also keep in mind her own aspirations for wider redevelopment. Luton now has an opportunity to become fully accessible in the short to medium term with benefits to a wide range of users. I very much hope the Honourable Member will support those works, and in relation to her aspirations for a wider regeneration of the station, I urge her to work with local authorities, the local enterprise partnership and the rail industry to develop a business case for such works, including identifying funding sources for their delivery. Once again, Mr Deputy Speaker, I'd like to thank the Honourable Member both honourable members for securing this debate on the redevelopment at Luton Station. And I look forward to working with both honourable members to see how that can be delivered.
And congratulations on your maiden speech from the dispatch box. The question is that this House do now adjourn. May I say aye? Aye. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order.